Good evening. My name is Emily McClanahan. I'm a recent graduate, a recent Grady graduate with a digital broadcast journalism degree. So, right off the bat, media and telling stories and journalism is something I'm really passionate about and something I really enjoy learning about. And I decided to pursue the sports media certificate because I have always just had a passion for sports and for what sports does for people, and being that I'm a retired athlete, I know the value and what just teamwork and what competition and what those sort of things do to people. But looking at it from now a professional and I guess a graduate, looking back at the impact of what sports does for the world, it's so much greater than, I think people realize, because there is, I'm sorry, I have a rowdy pup. There is nothing in the world that brings people together like sports and music. And when you really think about that, that's powerful because, it brings together the worst of enemies and also the best of friends. And so that's why social media, I believe, is more important than ever now, because we have this space where we can connect with fans and coaches and personnel, and we can hold athletes accountable for things, and we can be fans, but we can tell stories also. And it's a medium that allows you to just do so much. One example I can think of right now is what I like to do in my free time. I like to travel and I like to play with my pup. And just recently I got back from a month-long trip to Europe, all over Europe, and I met a lot of British people who, after talking with them, we would ask about, like, oh, do you like David Beckham? And, how do you feel about football, or soccer as they call it? And, they, talked about their love for the NFL and rugby and, like, all these different sports, and it was just really cool to have that connection. And again, like, circling back to social media, I think that without that influence, it'd be a lot harder for these other countries and people all over the world to really see what we have, with the NFL, for example. And the same thing for us with their football and their soccer leagues. So I believe it's really powerful. I believe as journalists we have a duty and a responsibility to use that power wisely, and to use it to tell a story, and to use it to unify, and tell the world why sports is so important. I'm from Elberton, Georgia, the granite capital of the world, and I look forward to this class. I look forward to really learning how to fine tune and have a fine line between being a fan and being a professional sports social media person. I think it's important to be able to have that balance. But then again, I personally, and I don't know, how this is really regulated, but I personally don't want to ever lose my sense of fanship, because I believe that's really why I wanted to do this in the first place. And so I never want to really let that go. So that means I'm going to have to work harder to really find that line of how to be a sports journalist, but also, maintain that fanship. So I'm looking forward to that, especially in terms of my social media. And I think it'll be a great, great summer.